Bruce, can we call the meeting to order?
Yes, we can, sir. 7 o'clock.
And I will do that at 7 p.m.
All right. Do we start with the roll?
Yes, please.
All right. Commissioner Berlandi,
Here.
Commissioner Fox,
Here.
Commissioner Eisner,
Here.
Commissioner Kelsey,
Yes.
Commissioner Simpson,
Here.
and Commissioner Statton.
Here.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, so we'll start with new business item number one, Mr. Petrossi at 1637 Farmington Avenue.
All right. I have the application reloaded. Okay. Get this new thing here. How do I get this out of here? Like this thing here. So it updated right in the middle of loading the meeting. Now I got this bar that I can't grab anything from. How do I move that?
Oh,
That's lovely.
can you just say, okay?
Okay. All right. Okay, we go. Thanks, Sandy. So there's the application and here's the plan. What I also included is, and I think you guys have seen those were in the folder and online. These are the photos from February 10th. So just updating everyone. This is one of those 2 or 3 inch rainstorms we had. There's the river over there. This is the outlet side, and you can see the water from the river is pretty much backed up. And there's the river over there. And there's the inlet. You can see it's underwater. At that point, there's no opening available at all. So
Bruce, what's the date on those?
this was January 10th.
Okay,
So
thank you.
no, that's fine. So I just kind of, and I think I had said I put those on there for everybody, but I just wanted everyone to see them. And this is the outlet side. You can see the outlet. There's no exposure of that cross culvert either. So as I was saying out at the site walk, I think this is definitely a reflective of the elevation of the river. So, but the applicant is online. All right. So if he wants to maybe update the commission on anything, he can go right ahead. Peter, are you there?
Yes. Good evening, everybody. So, I just got to start by saying this has just been a nightmare for me and my wife. I didn't think, I know a lot of people. I've worked with engineering groups, been in construction, called a lot of people, but I never thought that this would be something I'd have to take care of. Everybody's telling me it's not your water. State runs catch basins a third of a mile up the road. They built a house in 1934. I kind of feel penalized that they didn't keep records to 48. I do have legal counsel, but I just don't have money to pursue that. I'm just being as completely honest as I can. So when this first happened after the 7-inch rain, I had people come out and they went in, and I could do a Band-Aid approach, just repair the wall that spalled out in the culvert. But I thought that it would be best to do the whole thing and do it right and have it last 400 years. I got to tell you, I could write a white paper on culverts. I did so much of my own time into this. But I've got estimates from really good people. I got estimates from the people that did West Avon Road, and some other really good ones. I know the engineer in Terryville, Plymouth, Jim Schultz, good. He gave me some of his people. So I've got really qualified people. They all gave me a quote for ADS pipe, 42-inch, which is larger than the 32-inch that's in there, with flared ends. And this is such a financial burden. I got to tell you, I'm still considering doing a GoFundMe page. I called the news. I had Mike D'Amico out here, attorney. I've done everything I could. It's just been very difficult. And, it's it's an expenditure. I just don't have the money. 68. So I am going in with the mindset that, you know, if I do it right, I won't have to touch it again. But if I touch if it comes down to all I can afford is the replacing the wall where it's spalled out, you know, that's my last course, but I'd like to do it right or I'm never going to be able to sell this house. And the design is right. I mean, everybody's on the same page, 42-inch, double walled ADS, the best pipe you can buy with, I might add too, with flared ends. And we're going to extend the pipe on both sides, flare it out with compaction. So, I mean, we're using the best practices. I've been in direct contact with the head engineer, tech person at ADS Piping. His resources are mine. He gave me some good ideas. I know what bedding's required. I mean, with the money that I have to spend, I'm going to be on this inspecting like white on rice. So I'm looking for a little support. The mayor, the town manager, Kathleen, wrote a nice letter to the state. State didn't move on this. And here I am. I didn't celebrate Thanksgiving with my 3 daughters and grandkids, didn't celebrate Christmas. I just have been living and dreaming and depressed as hell over this.
So Petrosi, thank you for explaining your situation and for having us out to the property. I think we all recognize that it's not a question as to whether you do the repair or not. It's unfortunate that you have this massive problem that needs to be fixed. So how you choose to fix it, whether it's going to be you know, a Band-Aid approach or doing the full you know, redo of the culvert is something that you can work on. I hope that you can find some assistance from the state because I'm sure it's a tremendous burden. I think what we have to look at is the regulatory process to do the approval. So I think from the conversation that occurred out at your property when we did the walk, the general consensus by the commission is it needs to be done, and we just need to sort through the process that we need to go through. And I think that will be one of the big discussion points for the commission if we determine that it is under the statutes and our regulations a significant activity. Then we do have to schedule a public hearing. It doesn't mean that we're concerned about whether the project can or should be done. We just have to evaluate the potential impacts, and the regulations and statutes would require a hearing. If we determine that it is not a significant activity, then we can discuss approving and what conditions of approval would be required. So with that background, and Mr. Petrosi, if you have any questions on, you know, what we're doing, you can certainly ask them tonight or continue to work with Bruce because he can guide you through the process.
Okay.
So I would like to open up a discussion with the commission. My general feeling is the work absolutely needs to be done to protect and repair Mr. Petrosi's property, and clearly the problem is coming from the large storm drain that exists on his property. But the application we have before us, you know, I think when we're talking about extending the culvert, you know, 100 feet, the proximity to the Farmington River, I think it just, in my mind, is a significant activity. It's necessary and would need to be done, but I think our process would send me the route of scheduling it for a hearing based on the overall significance of the work. But I'll go around to the other commissioners and sort of hear what you have to say on the level of significance, whether it's significant or non-significant. So alphabetically, Rich, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I understand that, you know, it's basically replacing, you know, the pipe that's there. It's not extending the culvert any farther than actually needs to be done. I'm kind of leaning as not a significant activity, but you know, I could be persuaded either way. And I really don't have any, you know, as long as the proper sedimentation and erosion controls are, you know, installed while the work is being done, I don't have a problem with this. And, you know, it obviously needs to be done.
Thank you. Dave?
Yeah, something definitely has to be done. I agree with Robert that it's has to be looked at as a significant activity. It's being extended from 70 feet to 120 feet. So actually, you know, we're covering an additional 50 feet of this water course. So I think that puts it in the category of significant. And I'm guessing that the need to extend the culvert that long is to avoid having to build high head walls on either side. I could see particularly on the upstream side with the driveway, you might want to extend in that direction somewhat, even for safety reasons, so you don't have the wall right at the edge of your driveway. But from the other direction, I'm just wondering if it would be possible to have some sort of a head wall there and not extend the culvert as much. I guess something to think about as we continue. That's what I have for now.
Thanks, Dave. Neil?
Yeah, I agree. This has, you know, it has to be done. I, you know, I empathize with the applicant as to how difficult this is and the situation that he's in and he and his family are in. And you know, the sooner they get this fixed and behind them, things will you know, hopefully improve. But where I am on significance is, I think, again, because we're not really extending this at all, well, I do think there's going to be some significant activity going on in there. I don't think it rises to the level of what I would consider a significant activity overall. That I am interested to hear what other commissioners say on that. But I think, you know, having seen the site walk, there's a certain level of activity that has to be done in there to repair the sinkhole, to make sure that doesn't happen again, and to repair the walls and all of that. So, like I said, I'm leaning towards not a significant activity, but I am interested in what the other commissioners have to say.
Thanks, Neil. Mark?
Yeah, as everyone said, it's work that needs to be done, but not being able to attend the site visit, you know, not having firsthand knowledge about the work to be done, I might kind of feeling I came in this as non-significant, but I'm kind of feeling I'm not knowledgeable enough to know whether it should be, you know, moved on to a higher level, and have a public meeting. So I'm going to be pretty much, you know, not to cop out here, but I'm pretty much will go with the majority of the commission on this. Either way, I think I think it all will turn out to be right, whether it gets done next week or after the next meeting. That's all.
Thanks, Mark. Ned?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions on it, maybe for Bruce. So has he submitted anything from an engineer in regards to what he plans to do?
No.
Okay.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, because as I've said before, I have a problem with having a smaller pipe than a pipe that is just a couple 100 feet upstream. I know it's hard. I mean, I looked at the photos through the you know, that's actually some good photos looking in through each side, and it looks like it was extended at one time, because like the very interior is all just masonry, and then we have on either side, you know, you have that piece of concrete that's going over, and then that piece of concrete rests on some old masonry stone walls. And so like I don't know how when we say, yeah, that opening you have in the photo there and there is only 42 inches, because if you look, you know, the stones on both sides are undermined, and that adds to the area of water that's going through. So you know, you have, and then I can see a little waterfall there. You have a drop off. It looks like, I don't know. I think that, you know, we misinterpret the fact that, well, when the Farmington River backs upstream, yeah, that affects the water level of the stream, but that doesn't have a huge effect on the cubic feet per second of water and the velocity of the water that's going through that pipe under a storm condition. And I'm really leery towards approving a 42-inch pipe. And I think that, you know, you might even, I'm not sure, but you might need to get a permit from Connecticut DOT. I'm not sure how close, I don't know where the right-of-way line is. Is it, if it lines up with the property lines in the, you know, that we have in the beginning of the application. But I don't know. I'm a little concerned about how this is going to go. And I would almost tend to recommend having just, if you can't put a bigger, you know, a pipe of appropriate size in, then maybe he should go with the repair. And I don't know, I'm on the fence about whether it's a significant. I mean, I understand this is a fair amount of construction work, and you're going to have to, I don't know, on the upstream side, bag it off and then run a pipe out to the Farmington River, or you know, and then also bag the downstream side so that the water doesn't creep up into the construction area. So I mean, those type of things lean towards it being a significant activity, but the fact that it's just replacing one drainage structure with another drainage structure makes me feel that it's not significant, that it's just upkeep of the property. So, but this is a big event to have to be done without an engineer looking at it, and it does make me feel a little, you know, uneasy that nobody has evaluated the size of the pipe. You know, you run an upstream evaluation as to how much square footage comes into that stream of runoff, and then you size your pipe. So that's kind of what should be done. And I understand that's an additional cost. Having an engineer do it is gonna, you know, add another $10,000 to the job. But
Not gonna
if you're talking
happen.
about doing it right, then I think that you're gonna have to do that. Otherwise, you might be better off just fixing the area with the sinkhole. You know, excavating off the top, pouring concrete over it, and then filling it back in.
Is it
That's,
okay if I
what I have.
comment? Bruce, can I speak? It's Peter.
Yes,
No.
I'm the chair. Yep, go ahead,
Oh, I'm
Peter.
sorry.
I'm the chair.
I don't know
Yep,
the
that's-
protocol or the.
Yeah.
So.
No, we
so
understand.
So thank you. I don't know how to speak, but that's why I spoke out. But I had three
Sure.
state officials very high up, because this went to the commissioner. They all came out. They said, this is private property. We're not, we have nothing to do with this. Nothing, no permit, nothing. They were adamant because they didn't want to pay a penny. This is in your property. It's drainage. You take care of it how you want to. This is three high up state officials. My attorney's dealing with things in the background, but I can't afford engineering drawings. I'm actually making this much better, way better, 100% better than what it was built. It's 32 inches inside the pipe. I had one of the groups that did this was a PE. He designed 42 inches. So if the costs keep escalating, it's 18 grand more for me to go with 48-inch over 42 that all three of these professionals recommended. So if you want to hit a guy when he's down, I'm sorry, I can't afford it, and I'll just Band-Aid it, and we'll deal with something else. I'm not, I feel strongly this shouldn't escalate to a public hearing, but you know, you guys are the big bosses, so do what you got to do.
Thanks for that input, Mr. Petroni. And I think you heard from the commission members that, you know, we do empathize with your situation. And I tried to explain at the outset that the public hearing is not in any way a means to try and make things more difficult or be punitive. It's under our regulations, if we determine that the activity is significant with regard to the impact of the wetland, then under the statutes, we have to hold a public hearing. I think you heard from all the commission members, we recognize that there is necessary repair work that has to be done. And I think, Ned, you raised a good point about whether, you know, this requires an engineered design. And Mr. Petrosia, you know, I recognize you hear that and you're concerned about the cost, and we understand that, but it's also a fairly deep pipe and it's a major construction project. So I think we'll have to see what resources we'll get through the town review. And Bruce, do you know, are there any programs? Is it something that the town engineering staff could potentially run the drainage calculations, or is that you would only
Well-
be the review end?
Well, we've been out there, myself as well as the Director of Public Works has been out there, and we agreed that the 42-inch was adequate to take care of the flow. And because like I said, it's based on the square footage and the area that's in there. And as I mentioned earlier, with regards to the elevation of the stream, I mean, once that storm starts to kick in and the river, once the stream starts to, once the river, once the rain event starts to occur, that river starts to come up, it backflows right into that property. And the way that we've looked at it is, it doesn't matter what size pipe that is, you know.
That's not true.
But that's,
It's-
again,
that's not true, because the CFS that goes cubic feet per second of water that goes through that pipe, has some effect to the head that's on each side of the pipe.
Yes.
But it's independent of the water level. You could, it has more to do with the force of water upstream and the velocity coming downstream, as opposed to just the straight water level in the pipe.
It is, but once the elevation of that river comes up, it becomes what we call outlet control. When that outlet is underwater, all right, there's not enough head pressure. And you saw in the pictures how much that is backed up. And like I said, that was during that rain. So that water is backed up. It's not even moving. It's because the river is more or less blocking that outlet. And that's what they call outlet control. The outlet controls whether that pipe will flow or not and how much water flows through there. I'll give you that during the early parts of that storm, you know, in the hour or two, 12 hours, whatever it is, yes, the water is flowing through there. But once the river collects from everything else and starts to come up, it blocks up that pipe. So, but they and Chair, if you don't mind me just interjecting a little bit on something. I know you're trying to determine significance. Does it make any benefit to maybe discuss a little bit more with the commissioners that if the pipe size is going to be an issue, the applicant has clearly said he's not going to move in that direction, and maybe maybe the chance to modify the permit and just go with the repair. I just don't want to waste everyone's resources and times of having a public hearing if we're going to go and we're going to mandate a pipe size increase. So.
Yeah, Bruce, thanks. That's a fair point. So I think, you know, we have two major issues to decide. One is the significance, and we were pretty evenly split when we went around on our initial discussion. So we're probably going to need a motion one way or the other to prompt that decision, or we could look at the technical design first, because that's another issue that if we, regardless of where we end up on significance or non-significance, we're gonna have to look at how the work is actually going to be undertaken.
Mhm.
And
Bruce,
that's why,
let
you know,
me-
sort of my opening comment was, you know, whether it's sort of the temporary repair, temporary meaning, you know, many years, a temporary repair or the full project, which would be, you know, multiple hundreds of years. You know, I think either could be done to mitigate the problem that exists, you know, very imminently right now. Ned, were you gonna make some other
I,
comment?
I was just asking, so the town doesn't require a job like this to submit plans with an engineer stamp on it?
If you're replacing in kind, no. If it's, as long as it's in kind, we're not having concern with it. If this was a area where it was more further upstream inside a development and we had problems with drainage problems up there, then yes, we would. But this is what we call at the bottom of the watershed. All right. So as it clearly shows, we're at the bottom of the watershed. The water comes in, he's only 100 feet from the river or 200 feet from the river. So he's at the bottom of the watershed. So whatever he does has no effect on causing any downstream impacts. So
One more question. So the little ponds there behind the house in the river, are those backfed in from the river
Where's
or
that?
are they fed upstream
Where-
from that stream that's feeding this culvert?
the ponds. What ponds we talking about?
No, come back, go back down. Yeah, is that a pond or is that a shaded tree? I can't.
This, oh no,
Okay.
that's a shaded tree. It's just lawn.
And this over here on the
Yeah,
other
right there,
side is
June.
also?
It's
Okay,
what?
all right,
Yeah. This is all
I'm
lawn.
sorry.
No,
I
that's
thought
fine.
that was,
No,
it
this
looked
is
like,
lawn. This is
you know, the
lawn.
same color of the river.
Yeah, and then this is the
Yeah,
this
that's
is
the
brook right here.
stream.
So,
I thought there was some water body behind the house. All right, my mistake.
So you know, again, I think we're pretty evenly split on whether it's a significant or non-significant activity. So if anyone wanted to prompt a motion for significance or as a non-significant, then we can call the vote and see where that leaves us.
All right, I'll make a motion that this is not a significant activity.
Is there a second?
Second.
Just,
Okay, so we have a motion, a second. In Bruce, I think we'll probably have to go around because if we do a, you know, aye and nay, we won't get who says.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
understood.
ask if we do a roll call.
All right. Commissioner Berlandi,
non-significant.
Commissioner Fox,
I'm still saying that covering 50 feet of stream is significant.
Commissioner Eisner,
I am opposed because I believe it's significant.
all right. Commissioner Kelsey,
Significant.
okay, and Commissioner Simpson.
Significant.
You say?
Yeah, significant. So the motion
Okay,
failed.
so then the motion would fail
Mhm.
as a non-significant activity. So we'd have to have a motion now to make a determination that it is a significant activity. Is there a motion?
You'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, again, Bruce, can you
Yes, sir.
call the vote, name by
Yep.
name?
Commissioner Berlandi,
Aye.
Commissioner Fox,
Aye.
Commissioner Eisner,
Aye.
Commissioner Kelsey,
Aye.
and Commissioner Simpson.
That's Ned's
Aye.
name.
Oh,
Ned.
sorry, Commissioner Statchin. I apologize.
Nay,
Nay.
Mhm.
nay.
So that's,
Okay, so
1, 2, 3, 4, 5-1.
that motion would carry. So, Mr. Petrosi, all this means is that we have to, through the statutory requirement, hold a public hearing, which would occur at our meeting next month. So I think that would give us a little more time to work out some of the technical designs in the proposal, in the hearing, and Bruce could provide more information. You know, it would just be an opportunity for anyone that wanted to offer comments to be able to do so, and then we would make a motion on the application that's pending.
Public hearing wouldn't be scheduled till March 6th. So,
I won't be here. I'm out of state until the 8th or 10th. Can I call in?
Yeah, through
Yeah.
remote.
yeah,
Yes.
you can call them through Zoom. It's the same thing we have going on here.
Yeah, so I'll be in South Carolina. My mother-in-law's ill and we gotta help her. So I'll have to call in.
Just contact the office in the morning and we'll schedule with Sandy and I what you need to do. Okay?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably give you my mother and, well, no, I don't know. I could log on to her laptop.
Yeah, we have time.
Yeah, Peter, just, you know what?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Call us in the morning because there's a sign we have to post or some things we have to do. So just call us in the morning and we can work that out. Okay?
Yeah, one last thing, gentlemen. I mean, one or two of the three quotes were professional engineers. They went in, even the guy in the state went in. It was like 32 inches. So I was gonna come in initially with 36 inch, which was more, but I figured I'd err on the safe side and go to 42. I can tell you right now, I don't have the money to do this. Another $18,000 to go with 48-inch pipe. I know you walked upstream, but that crosses Route 4, the culvert that's 48. And it's got stuff coming from the condos and other things. And in the 7 years I've been here, Bruce couldn't have said it better. When the river's high, it doesn't matter what size pipe's there, it's gonna back up. And it's never came over to banks, not once in my 7 years did it come over either the front side of the culvert or the back side where it was high. And, you know, I clean debris out, I maintain it good, I go in there regularly and try to do it. So just if you can help me, it's a cry for help. I gotta go with 42, which is better than 32, and it wasn't 36. I can't afford 48. I'm just telling you that right now. If you guys get together, and based on the experts that bid the job, the PEs, they thought 42 was the next size up. So that's all I got.
Can I I have a question, Mr. Chairman? What was
Go ahead, Nick.
measured? What was
I said,
what
go
was
ahead. Yep.
measured the 32 inches? From like the side to edge of that concrete
Up,
section?
down, edge to edge, 32 by 32. Somebody from the state went in there. The state was all over this when they came. Real nice guy from the state. I don't remember his name. He had boots on and he went inside the culvert at both ends.
Okay. Look, I'm not gonna, it won't be my deciding factor for me on this, whether you go with 48 or 42 or 48. I'm telling you what I think my opinion is, but I'll tell you I'm not at the point where I'll vote no if it's not 48, because that's not the case. I'm just telling you what I think would be best. So you know, I understand that you have had some competent contractors out there looking at this, and so you know, and I certainly don't know everything, but I'm just, you know, along with that 48-inch pipe upstream, there was two other pipes that came into that inlet. So that's, I mean, if those are all flowing full, that's a lot of CFS. Hey, you know, if it backs up onto Route 4, it backs up onto Route 4. What are you gonna do? Actually, we probably go more towards the high, I think we'd probably go, since the angle of the stream is there, it probably would follow that way it's coming out of the pipe, and then just head for the Farmington River if it, if it started backing up at the inlet there. But hey, what I'm saying is that you also, in a structure like this, you have undermining in the stones and it gets, and you have that sediment in there. Sometimes it blows out and then it fills back in, blows out, fills back in, based on what kind of flow is going on in the river. So, I'm not saying 42 I think 48 is better than 42. I'm not saying 42 won't work. I'm just saying that's what I think you should do. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Ned. And Mr. Petrossi, I'm going to see if there's any other technical concerns with the commission. So please stand so you can hear that conversation. And for the commission, if there's any other concerns, because our initial discussion was really focused on the decision on significance. So if there's other technical concerns or timing or anything else, if we could raise those now to be of the benefit for Bruce as he preps for the hearing, and also Mr. Petrossi, because he can modify what he intends to do at any time. So I'll maybe go in reverse order. Ned, anything else that you want to raise before we move towards the hearing? Ned, you might be on mute. Looks like maybe we lost Ned, but I was going to ask it. I was asking the commission if there's any other concerns or discussion points before we move off this item. Anything else to raise?
This is Dave. I just wanted to reiterate my previous comment. If there's some way to reduce the 120-foot length of the culvert in some manner, I would like to see that considered. Don't have to match the existing 70, but somehow reduce the additional 50. Thank you.
Dave, this is Peter again. I spoke with Bruce about that. We can shorten it on the outlet side going towards the river. And I just lose a little of my front lawn, which I really don't care. But we could pick up a good 20 feet on that end. 120 is kind of the maximum. But we could probably get by with saving 20 feet at that end, in my opinion, pretty easily. Just giving up some of my front yard.
Well, it would still be longer than what you have there now, but I appreciate the effort to reduce that.
Okay, yeah, no, I think we could get by with 100 feet. And again, I'm using best practices. I'm not trying to cut corners. I looked into Prinsco pipe and ADS, and everybody quoted ADS, swears it's double walled. I was going to pay extra. We didn't bring this up for flared ends, so the water enters. That's on me. Flared ends aren't cheap when you get to that diameter. They're all like custom made. So I'm doing some measures that I think are 400 years. The pipe company told me this pipe could last 400 years. So could even last beyond it. It's really quality pipe. It's ADS double walled pipe. It's matter of fact, if you put just to let some people know, if you put 12 inches of cover on the top of this pipe, it will hold 48,000 pounds just with 1 foot cover. And we're going to go with more. And we're going to use the right compaction, right bedding. I got all the spec sheets. I've been in direct contact with ADS, their tech guy. He's been phenomenal. And, I hate to see this go to a Band-Aid. Then you're going to be meeting again. It's just going to be reoccurring. So if you can work with me, I'm spending a fortune. I'm already close to 100,000. I don't have money for another 18,000. This is just breaking my bank. I'm going into all my 401k. I had 3 daughters. I'm a working class hero. The Beatles wrote a song about me in the White Album. Worked 2 jobs. I know, seriously, I worked 2 jobs. I worked 7 days a week up to when I was 62 years old. and I can document it all. I put two girls through college. I have 3 girls. My wife stayed home. I mean, I'm ready to freaking cry. This is so upsetting. I'm sorry. You know, you guys got to have some heart. I'm doing it right.
Yep, no, we appreciate, and we do have empathy as to where you are, Mr. Petrosi. We have to go through our process to uphold the statutes and the reg, but we appreciate you trying to solve the problem and do it the right way. So Dave, thanks for the feedback. Rich, any other questions or comments?
Just one observation was that if the flows coming into this new pipe were to exceed its capacity, it wouldn't flood Route 4. It would just turn into overland flow. And it's my understanding that that bridge that's on the west side of that little pedestrian bridge that's there, that has never gone underwater. So I would tend to doubt that, doing this culvert will back the flow up to cause any problems. The other question I had was, are we sure that this pipe is definitely not on the state right of way? It's on private property.
Yes,
Mhm.
you look at the map, it's pretty clear right here. You can see the culvert is right by the side house, but right here, and the right of way is pretty
Okay.
far out there.
Yeah, if the culvert ruptured on the other side, it would have been on state property, but it didn't. My luck.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. Dave, we heard from you. Neil, any additional comments or questions?
No, I'm all set. Thanks.
Mark, any additional comments or questions?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, and Ned, I wasn't sure if you were on earlier. Any other questions or comments?
I'm all set, thank you.
Okay. All right, then we can close this matter. And Mr. Petrosi, if you can stay in touch with Bruce, he will give you all the information you need on what needs to happen between now and March 6th.
Yep. Oh, thank you all. I guess I can just pray. I do a lot of it. So thank you.
Okay.
I'm
have a
gonna
good evening.
leave. I'm gonna leave. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We'll move on to item number 2, Jennifer Gupta, 70 Wood Pond Road.
Yep, the applicant is here. I've got the application on the screen here. Here's bring it in for everybody. I also grabbed in some of our photos from the site walk that we had the other day. So, whoa. So this is the proposed. I think that Commissioner Simpson was not there. So just kind of prep him a little bit, but this is the pink flags are the location of the proposed garage. So the driveway will come right into the doors right here. The lake is in behind us. You can see the other one. So here's the garage. We'll drive into it. And this is the view from the next door neighbor of that brook we were talking about that goes piped and then goes open flow, piped and then open flow again. And I took a picture of the infiltration system that we talked about. Right over here. That's riprap stone with the pipe in it that's perforated. So this takes a large part of the roof, comes down through here and it just infiltrates in through the stones here. As much as it can before it overflows and goes into the pond. But there's the clean out for the pipe. It's down like a good like 3 feet or so, I think. So and that's the sump pump outlet. And that's it. So does the chair, I can put this back over to you, if you don't mind?
Sure. Yeah, and I think we opted not to make a decision on significance at the last meeting. We wanted to do the site walk, so it's probably appropriate to
Yes.
entertain a motion for either significant or non-significant, recognizing that this is all activity in the upland review area, fair distance from the watercourse itself. I would lean towards it's a regulated but non-significant activity, but we need a motion either on significance or non-significance. Maybe
Mr.
go around and
Chairman?
get a quick, yeah, go ahead, Ned, if you're gonna make the motion,
Oh.
go ahead.
Yeah, you asked for a motion. I want to make a motion that this is not a significant activity.
Mr. Rich,
Is
I'll
there a
second
second?
that.
Okay, all those in favor of non-significant signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Hearing none, the motion for non-significance would carry. So now we can talk about the merits of the project and if there would be any conditions to the approval. Bruce, I guess one question I would have for you before I go around is, was the decision made on where the drainage from the garage is going to go, or is that one of the things that we'll have to?
Oh, that's all part of us.
Yes.
I know that I had that in our agenda review. We had talked on the site, talked about discussion of the need to address the roof and then the driveway runoff as well, and along with the proper erosion controls. So I think we thought they have that infiltration system over there with the roofs, maybe doing something similar along here, along the, we have a better picture here. And the applicants here, I know they can discuss it with us as well, but somewhere along in here, do that same thing to try to treat the roofs. So
Exactly. Yep. That's a great plan.
I think it's in their best interest because we also, a couple of us talked about possibly pervious pavement for the driveway as well,
Yes.
because there are some concerns with the long driveway coming around. And two things. One is we don't want to increase any runoff onto the neighbor's property by sheet floating all of that driveway runoff onto their property. And two, with it being very narrow through here and the slope, if you take the runoff from the driveway as well as the roof, they may have some concerns with the erosion in the lawn. So
Yes.
For the applicant, is there any additional information that we should know before we go on and talk about the location? Okay,
Just at, oh, can you hear me?
yes,
Wonderful. Yes, we did speak, and so we have the pervious concrete for the driveway, significant planting to buffer and absorb some of that as well, all along the driveway and the sideline. And then the downspouts feeding together into a controlled, I don't know, what do you call it? Like a,
I think kind of like what you had recommended. I think when they bury them, they usually have a perforated pipe and they lead to some sort of leach field or rock bed. And it would be where you guys had recommended.
thank you.
And if the commission feels, it's kind of an approval or whatever, let us know, and if they don't mind, if they find it easier, they can give us staff the direction and deal with the applicant directly to work out the specifics on the design.
Thanks, Bruce.
Chairman,
Yes, go ahead, Ned.
do we have plans that show where the drainage system is going to go and like because I know the plans that we've had before don't show the existing drainage system that's there that we saw in the photos, and usually we would show on the plans how they're going to deal with the drainage.
Mhm.
Do we have those?
Yeah, we
Bruce,
don't.
Yep, I can answer that. Yes, as we said, no, we do not have any plans. That was not as builted. What they did here is what they're doing here is it's a twofold problem. First, they have to get wetlands approval. Then they need to go to planning and zoning approval. So even though you guys approve this may not get approved at the planning and the zoning level. That's up to, I don't mean that it's in danger of not being approved, but there's another commission that has to prove it. So at this point, they did not go into full detail on how they're going to address that. So that's up to the commission at this point. They can put it back on the staff. If you want, maybe the other option is to approve it with conditions of approval. have them go back to planning and zoning. If they get it approved at that point, then they can then they could modify the entire design, and I could come back to you guys as a planner's report or something, and then show you the plan.
Thanks, Bruce. Ned, does that answer your question?
Yeah, but I mean, our usual, the way we usually required all that information about how the drainage is gonna be handled be on the plans before we approve something, so I don't know. You know, I don't, like, I don't know the details on that, on the drainage that's on the south side of the property, and were they intending to tie back into that? Were they gonna do another one on the other side of the property? Like, Bruce was mentioning, but, you know, there should be something on paper that shows us what they're gonna do. I mean, I guess we could let Bruce handle it, but that's not the way we usually operate.
And again, and you guys don't have to vote tonight either. You know, you guys can request this to be done. If that's what the commission wants, they could have it addressed, they can have it addressed at that point, you know, and then have them draw this up, come back to you guys, get it approved, and then they will go back to a TPZ. It's the only reason I looked at it is this is we've done these before on building projects before where we've done infiltration systems for roofs. It's a very simple design. It's not that it's not that hard. So they're working inside an existing lawn area. So it's not like we're going to be going into the trees and then clearing something, you know? So they're all working in the existing lawn area. So if you guys, I guess my thought was if this infiltration system was not a problem here, then the condition of approval can just be put one over here and address it with that. And then the specifics worked out with the town staff with the assumption that they're not clearing any trees and they're going to stay in the existing disturbed lawn area. So.
Thanks, Bruce. But Ned, I would agree that typically we have a bit more detail. We don't even have an initial grading plan, and I think on a schematic level that shows how the drainage would be addressed. So I think we can defer some to working out the details with town staff, but I agree with you, Ned, that it would probably be good to have some of the additional work up front. Ned, any other questions or comments?
No, thank you.
Okay. Mark, any questions or comments?
None, thank you.
Okay. Neil, any questions or comments?
No, my only comments, during the sidewalk were regarding the drainage. So any more details on that would be helpful.
Okay. Dave, any questions or comments?
The concept sounds good. Pervious concrete, downspouts into the ground, leach fields or some detention. If that's done, I think it's fine.
Thanks.
Can we
Rich?
comment?
Yeah, just let me go to one more commission and then we'll come back to. Okay.
Yep.
Rich, and any questions or comments? Rich, we're coming to you for
It's there. He's
feedback.
there.
All right, may have lost Rich for a moment. All right, I'll go back to the applicant if you wanted to respond to any of the questions, comments.
Yeah, all that I was going to say is that essentially, we would be doing what was recommended, whether that's pavers or the pervious concrete. And then essentially there would be the gutter system would be buried, with a leach field leading to a rock bed, and that would be behind kind of where you guys had recommended, behind the garage or to the right of the garage, the back corner. But yeah, ultimately, however you guys want to deal with it, you guys can deal with that, and we'd go from there, whether it's a conditional approval upon doing those items or not.
I know when we originally had built the house, we had to go through a very similar process. And so between the Lake Association and this Water Commission, we were given some parameters with which we then gave the builder. And so when the house was built, that builder already had all of those kind of stipulations in hand. And so everything was done according to that.
Great. Thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
You know, I think where I land on this is, in what I heard from the commission, is conceptually, there wasn't any significant concern raised about constructing the garage where it's proposed, but I do think it would be consistent with what we normally see when we're getting to the approval to have a bit more detail on the grading and how the stormwater and driveway runoff and roof runoff would be managed. Bruce, you had raised a couple other points in your review memo, including use of the garage and storage of materials. And I think my thought on that was just, limit it to normal residential materials, that it would not be for commercial use. And, certainly normal residences would be, gasoline powered, although many things are shifting to electric now, and, any maintenance materials that we have for the house and garage. In terms of the clearing, Bruce, I didn't think that the yard was already pretty well established as lawn. There were some mature trees, but a few of them weren't in great health. So I wouldn't want to preclude removal of trees that were already sort of on the backside of the bell curve for growth and health. And then if there's any additional buffer plantings, that's something that could come into the plan. So I think, I'd entertain any motion that the commission wants to do. If we wanted to move forward with an approval, we could probably do it conditionally, or we could get some additional detail and consider this again in 2 weeks at our next meeting. I would probably lean towards getting a little bit more detail on the grading plan and the stormwater management before making the decision.
Mr. Chairman, I did have one other question.
Go
Did
ahead.
they consider just from this additional driveway going right out to the street, or is there preferred to come off their existing driveway? Because
I'm gonna
if
have
you
to go
went
to the
right out to the
applicant on
street,
that.
you'd probably have less paved area. But I mean, it could be a preference that they like, so I'm just wondering if the applicants have thought about that.
We had thought about, we didn't know first off if a second curb cut would be allowed. But we basically would probably prefer it to come across the front. It's keeps the yard more private and closed off from, we get a ton of walking traffic on Wood Pond. So ideally we'd want it to come across the front. I don't think the distance is too much. It might be a little shorter, but it's not gonna be that much difference.
Yeah. No, if you
And
have a
having
strong
that-
preference for that, then that's understandable.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Ned. Right, so for the commission, we would either have to move towards a motion with conditions, or we could reach consensus that we'd like to have a little bit more of the details fleshed out for consideration prior to a motion. So I'll put that out to the commission on what our next step will be. Are you all comfortable with what we have for information, or would you like more of the details fleshed out?
This is Ned. So can I make a motion to postpone for 2 weeks and then allow for more information to come in?
I'm sure, though, I'm not sure that we need a motion. It could just be a
Okay.
finding, but the motion, you started the motion. Is there a second?
It's Rich, I'll second it.
Okay, so we'll call the motion. All those in favor to table for additional information, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So the motion would carry. So for the applicant, if you could work with Bruce to provide some additional detail on how the build out would occur. So we're particularly interested in the rough grading and how the driveway and roof water would be managed and what your sort of final landscaping plan would be, because that would be important if you're removing any additional trees or you're planning any additional buffers that would help us assess any impact on the pond itself.
Okay, not a problem. And just to know, there'll be no additional trees removed. There's all the trees are quite a way away from the structure, so we'll just be adding new growth.
Thank you.
And this
So you
is,
can follow
this
up
is,
with, yep, you can follow up with Bruce and he'll guide you up until the next meeting.
Sounds good, not a problem. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank
Yeah,
you, you too.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so we'll move on to item 3, the cease and desist order for 504 Main Street.
Second, gentlemen. Right, this is the plan that was included with your dinner review. So just to give everyone a quick highlight, it's the same plan we had last month or at the last meeting. So again, this is a conceptual driveway only. We are not approving the driveway at all or the parking lot. We're just approving the reason for this was to show something that kind of works so we can decide what we plant in the upland review area. So that's what this is. When he's ready, he'll have to come back to the commission for the parking lot as well as the retaining wall that he wants to repair back here. So this is strictly just under the cease and desist order and the restoration of the disturbance. So if you look in here, so a second, let me bear with me here. So this was the plant list that he submitted. So a combination of shadblow, black chokeberry, gray dogwood, and northern brush honeysuckle.
where you want to go?
Hold on, who's that?
It's, you know,
Huh? Oh, is that Neil? Okay, sorry, that was something else.
Yeah,
Alright.
something popped up on my screen.
No, that's fine. No, I thought it was the applicant from 70 Wood Pond. I thought they
Yeah.
were still on. So those would all get planted in this area here, in this green area. Okay, and in addition, they were proposing some trees along here. Okay, so what I did here is I put just for some, the restoration area is approximately 4,600 square feet based on my calculations. All right, and this is the trees that they proposed. So I took some off the internet there. So shadblow, gray dogwoods, honeysuckle, and a black chokeberry. So these would be the ones that we all planted within that restoration area. And on top of it, well, one more. Right, in addition, that area would also be planted with the conservation seed mix, and I put that in the agenda review here. Give me a second. Yeah, so the New England Erosion Control Restoration Seed Mix per the plan. So, and then the owner, as I said, is depicting some trees along here. So I had made a suggestion maybe of possibly looking into possibly increasing those to maybe 8 to 10 to kind of wrap it down here a little bit more, but that's strictly up to the commission. So I know the applicant is online. Val? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
Yep. All right.
My only concern was any more plantings would might disturb the area, or we're not sure exactly what's going to be. I mean, we got a good idea of the parking area, but I don't want to go deeper into something we don't know what's going to be there yet, you know.
Okay.
My main goal here was just to handle the upland review area, the buffer zone, take care of their need for any kind of disturbance, and just move forward and get this past us.
Thank you. Hey, Bruce, I have a procedural question for you. Do we need to take a formal action on the cease and desist order to withdraw it, or does our approval of the restoration plan essentially put the cease and desist order to rest?
Yes, that's the latter. We'll just approval of this. We can make mention in the vote that this addresses the cease and desist order.
Okay, good. I appreciate that clarification. Bruce, you raised a couple of points for consideration with approval of plan. I think, on the timing, there has to be some flexibility because it depends on the availability of the plant stock and what the weather is doing. But I would hope that the plan could be carried out if it's approved in the 2024 planting season as early as possible. In terms of additional trees, maybe a few more would be better, but I also recognize, everything that's planted is going to grow and fill in pretty quickly. But I like the idea, Bruce, of the 3-year maintenance period. And then the other thing that would be worthwhile, I think, would just be to get progress reports to you, Bruce, incrementally as the project goes along to help you with sort of managing, make sure everything is on track. Those would be my basic thoughts on how to move forward, but I appreciate the time and energy and certainly the cost that went along with it from the applicant here, because a lot of time and energy and thought has been given. I'm satisfied with the restoration plan that's before us tonight. So with that said, I'll go around and pull the commission for other thoughts or comments. Rich, I'll start with you.
My only concern was that the plantings be supervised by the wetland scientist who came up with this plan. So make sure he gets planted as it should be.
If you don't mind, on that one, we had talked about that at the last meeting, and I unfortunately, I think I was actually mistaken. I thought these were going to be a smaller plant, but these really are not. These are really just going to be in 1-gallon containers, so they are going to be some relatively large plants. They're not. I thought they were going to be more like the bare rootstock kind of stuff. So I'll leave that up to the commission at this point, if that's still required or not.
I would like to add something if possible.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is an upland review area, and I'm not sure, but I thought wetland scientists are more involved when you're in the wetland for plantings, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
It is correct, but they can also ensure that what happens in the upland review area positively, or at least doesn't negatively impact the wetland area. So you're correct that, the wetland scientists are critical in the wetland area, but they can also provide valuable input in the upland area as well. Right. So Rich, was that it for your comments? I'll assume that was it from Rich. Dave, any questions or comments?
Yeah, I guess I'm pretty satisfied with the restoration plan. I did look at Bing Maps. Bing Maps was very good. They have got like an aerial view that you can play with, and it was taken. It was a totally wooded site. It was like all vegetated from the road all the way back to the river. So as much as we can get back there, that would be great. As far as the larger trees outside of the restoration area, if they have to come back to us with the design of the parking lot and whatever additional detention is going to be done, I think we can hold off on those trees with the recognition that something is going to be required in the future when that's proposed. That would be my suggestion. That's all I have.
Thank you, Dave. Neil, any questions or comments?
No, like others, I'm satisfied with the restoration plan. Just regarding following up on what Dave said on those 4 trees, I kind of envision those as we don't know when or if that parking lot is ever going to go in. So I kind of envision those as a good idea to put in at this point. Unless we know for certain that a parking lot is going to go in a very quick period of time. Nothing further.
Okay, thank you. Mark, any questions or comments?
No questions, no comments at this time. Thank you. Did you hear me?
I heard.
I
you.
heard you.
Okay,
We
there was
lose,
a pause, so I didn't know for sure.
Yeah, no, did we lose Commissioner Eisner?
He's still there. I mean,
No, he's showing is there, but I wonder if he lost his connection.
That would explain the pause.
We lose him, we still have a quorum.
Yeah.
Yes. No, we still have a quorum.
I'm back. Sorry, I lost
There we
my
go.
connectivity from.
Oh,
Yep,
that's fine.
sorry. I dropped off for some unknown reason. Ned, did you have any additional questions or comments?
I'm satisfied with the restoration plan. I know that the ownership of this section was still to be determined, or you're working on it. Is that decided yet? Wasn't the owners
Yes.
had to purchase this area?
Yes, the buffer zone, am I allowed to speak? I'm sorry, was I supposed to be told?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that. The buffer zone area is technically not owned by me yet. And we are very close. I've hired an attorney for the deceased parties. The next closest to kin was there about last week. She's actually 90 years old. She walked through the property. She wanted to see it. She recalls actually living when they lived, I think, next door there, and they owned the whole area. They said it was cornfield, was what she told me. But yes, we're very close, very, very close. This is all in the last week. So she lives out of state, so she's here. She came down to sign to the attorney that I hired for them. So we're moving along. We're getting somewhere.
Very good. And then the other question I have for the applicant is, so have you determined whether you're gonna have to the state right of way that goes underneath the proposed driveway?
Yeah.
So it was only that, like, the end of wall was crumbling, right? It wasn't the whole pipe, right?
Yes, the end wall. The way the pipe I think Mr. Armenta could explain it better than me. The way that drain is going, it's actually it's facing towards the wall. I don't know, it's not a really good picture here, but if you see from the beginning going, it's like it's kind of angled. The way the pipe is going towards the building, they said. So it's hitting the wall basically head on, like not head on, but going into the wall. So it's undermining the wall the entire time.
Oh.
That's the big issue there. Well, the number one issue, I mean, I personally had, I'm not an expert, but I don't know how they originally even allowed to put a drain that close to a building. I know that. It just boggles my mind, how they even allowed this to happen in the first place. But I guess that's where I'm at with it now. I guess you take everything that comes to you, right?
They've done so many additions on that building, maybe when that thing was first put in, the building didn't get that close to the property line.
No, we thought that too, and we had the state engineer. She came down. We did the digging. The building was completely in 1956. The drain went in 1960, which I can't believe. She said, basically, what she told me is, it is what it is. They did what they did, and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, I tried fighting the state for them to do this, to fix it. They will not. They're saying it has, the cost has to fall on me. So that's basically,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, thank you. I'm satisfied with the restructuring. Or restoration, rather.
Okay, so at this point, I think it would be appropriate to have a motion to approve the restoration plan, thereby terminating the cease and desist order for installation of the restoration plan as soon as feasible in 2024 with an annual maintenance and review for a 3-year period. And then we would have to either specifically include additional plantings or, as discussed, allow for it to defer to the final planting plan. So that would, whoever makes the motion would have to have the inclusion of plants. If we wanted to add additional trees, we wanted added, otherwise it would defer to the final plan at some point in the future. So is there a motion?
I'm not sure what you were asking for there about the final plan. And
Yeah, so I confused everyone. I think we went back and forth on whether additional trees were required at this point.
Oh.
The plan does not include them. So if we did not specifically include additional plans with our motion, then it would have to be captured in the future when the final plan comes in. So right now, I guess the approval would be for implementation of approval and implementation of the restoration plan as soon as feasible in 2024. Growing season, annual review and maintenance of the plan for a 3-year period. And that would be the motion unless it's modified by whoever makes it to include additional trees at this time.
It looks like the plan does say 4 decorative trees and they are
Yeah,
shown there.
Mhm.
So we could just approve those.
Well, I added that in originally for the parking plan, but then I guess that was supposed to be held to the side. But I mean, the decorative trees, I mean, it's not the end of the world, but I plan on doing it anyway eventually. So
Yeah, I think those were included, because that was the whole, that was the whole thing by the commission. They were actually concerned with the lack of trees in the 150-foot upland review area. So I think he added those in as part of a give and take, so.
also, it was more the detention basin, further work being done and where everything's gonna be laid out. That's why I didn't want to push the idea of putting those in right away, just so I do plan on putting in more like more trees and shrubs. I do like the properties to look proper myself, I'm not against any of that. I just don't want to put something there that's gonna get ripped out. You know, that's what my only concern is. Everything's not cheap.
As we said, the parking lot's gonna require a buffer as it is, so there will be no construction or nothing. And I wanna say 15 feet off the property line anyways, so. The commission can approve those if they want, with the assumption that they won't be damaged part of any kind of construction.
Okay, so is there a motion?
I'd move this, Rich. I'd move to approve the restoration plan with the inclusion of the 4 decorative trees shown in blue on the drawing.
Rich?
Together with the other the 3-year maintenance plan and the other conditions.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second it. Neil.
Thanks, Neil. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? So the motion carries. Thank you, Bill.
Okay, thank you. Am I all set?
That's it.
Yes, you can follow up with Bruce. All right, Val, have a good night. We'll move on to item number 4, the cease and desist for 1509 Farmington Ave.
Still have not heard anything from him. All right, and then I know I put these on there just for those who may not have seen them. Oh, you know what? That's why. Give me a second here. Yeah, right here. I was out there during that heavy, the same time I took the pictures for 1509. Let's see if this works on this screen, and I'm not sure if it does or not. Just to give everyone a headlight. Here's the area of fill right over here. This is the area that they had filled in here. So just a kind of an understanding of where that edge of the river actually is, so. All right, so that just goes to show you that a lot of that fill he had in there was actually underwater, so. But I have not heard back from him. I've been trying to contact him. He has not returned my calls. Town attorney has just wrapped up one of the last things that he needed to get back under a time schedule for for our office. So tomorrow I'm going to send him an email requesting what our next steps will be with this application. So.
Thanks, Bruce. And I think the
All right.
consensus from prior discussions, and certainly, my thought right now is that, we do need to move this into, the next level of enforcement. It's clear from your dutiful efforts that the violator is not going to respond to the administrative work that you're doing from town hall. So we need, we're like the town attorney to get involved for legal action.
Okay.
Any other
we
thoughts
need
or
a
comments?
do we need
No.
a
Yeah, go
motion
ahead,
for
Neil.
that or?
No, I think we already talked about that. The town attorney's been so packed with a lot of other things that he's been working on for the office that had a time crunch for that in the town, the manager's office. So we've just been waiting to slip this in next, so I'll be talking to him. Okay,
Yeah, I mean, we already have a cease and desist order in place. We're assessing penalties. We have zero dialogue with the violator. So it's apparent that we're pretty much at a dead end with our our work right now.
So Bruce, if you could get in there and get pictures after the water receded, because I'm wondering how much of that fill is now someplace else.
okay, I'll take after photos.
Yeah. But it
If
might
you
be
go
good to
into the
have
middle of the
before and
stream with,
after.
the river with waders on, then you can take some nice pictures of the shoreline.
How
Yeah,
about I hold
maybe
the
take
rope?
And tether some.
I'll hold the rope and you get on the other end of it, all right, Ned?
So Bruce is going to see how much sediment he can recover with a fly rod.
Yeah.
Trust me, like I said, all the times we've been down there with how that streams are, I keep calling it stream, but how the river's been flowing. I went out there down that time. As you could tell how loud, I couldn't even hear myself think. I'm like, I was actually nervous standing right next to it, said that if anything gives, I'm gone in a heartbeat.
Yeah, the photos show the river was moving pretty swiftly that day.
Yeah.
So Bruce, are you going to put a drone in the budget request for next fiscal year?
Yeah, I'll try. I'll let you know how far that gets.
Well, I still have some tire tubes when I used to live on the river. I used to go tubing down. You can borrow them anytime you want.
All right.
I wouldn't recommend going on the water at that time.
Yeah,
It
no.
seemed to be a little, maybe a kayak.
Okay, Bruce, so I guess we'll just keep rolling this forward down the agenda and we'll see what update we get in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Moving on to the next item on the agenda, election of officers. Any guidance here, Bruce?
No, this is totally up for you guys. I put it on there as a placeholder. You guys can discuss it if you want, if you want to kind of decide how you want to approach it, you could actually vote. Or if you want to push that to the next meeting and plan on having a scheduled vote at the next meeting. So.
I'm not aware of any dialogue that's occurred since our last site walk.
Mhm.
And when is our next meeting? It's 2 weeks or 4 weeks?
To,
To the 6th of March.
no.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
we have the one on the
21st.
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 February
I'm
21st.
jumping ahead. I'm trying to get past that Valentine's Day.
Sneak by.
Yeah, so is the public hearing then on the 6th or is it on the 21st?
The 6th.
Yeah, it's on the 6th.
Okay,
So
that has to be a month. Okay,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
because of the time
for
required
notice
to actually
requirements.
do the public notices, right?
Yeah.
okay, great. It's been a while since we had one, so I wasn't
Yeah.
sure.
understood.
I think we need to roll this over to the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so why don't we table that item? We'll move into planners report.
Planners report. All right, let me open that up now. This is more of an FYI, just to keep everyone going, what's going on. Oh. Oh, you know what? Hold on, I'm gonna go in here. We received a pesticide application for the pond and they were just rolling over the current pond application that they have. So if everyone's familiar with Dorset Lane Pond, it's just off of Dorset Lane. They had a dam breach last, this picture was April 23. And I want to say it was right before that, or it was the fall of 22. They had a dam breach and it kind of drained the entire pond. So that's what happened. The pond went and it's left with a little stream that flows in and out. So this is what's happened since that point. The pond has pretty much been taken over by vegetation. The neighborhood is looking into potentially repairing that pond. So at this point, they want to keep. They've got some phragmites that are growing along the edges and stuff. So I just received that application, so I threw it on the agenda really quick, just so you guys were aware of it. It's more of a discussion and just for me to gather some information and get back to you, but just trying to understand what they're doing out there, what kind of are they looking to spray the entire thing? How much of this is phragmites? You know, we just want to make sure that the commission's aware of what they're spraying and what kind of limits, if any, we want to.
So Bruce, it's going to be all herbicide treatment, or are they planning any mechanical removal and
They're not
additional?
they're not planning any mechanical treatment at this point. So it's all spraying. So the thing is, how much spraying, how much of the area we don't know yet. So I'm still working with them to determine how much of that area, you know. So I think it sounds like it's just along the edges is what he's saying. And again, the other thing is, because these pesticide applications take a while, they already have one in place. They just want to keep it rolling over. It's easy to roll over an application. So with the assumption that the pond or that the dam will be fixed, and then the pond will come back, and then they'll just be able to continue the pesticide application at that point. So I'll get back to you guys with some more information. All right?
Oh, so the dam's not fixed yet.
No, dam's not
Okay.
fixed yet. It's all coming down to, because if you see the property lines, everybody owns the pond, it's all shared. So they took a while for them to get together of what they're gonna do, the cost, they were trying to look for some grants with DEP, so they didn't get anywhere. So it looks like they are gonna try to take this upon on themselves. So,
Bruce, there was some drainage improvements that the town was doing on the influent to that pond.
Yeah,
Did
yeah,
those,
right here,
those,
this right here, yeah, this right here, the swale, they're still going ahead with that because that needs to be done, so.
okay. So, but it hasn't been finished yet.
No.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
And
Thanks,
I had
Bruce.
one
And
other,
then go ahead.
sorry, I had one other item that I don't have listed on there, but just to give everyone a reminder, the town council meeting for the resolution will be February 13th at 7:00. So I've contacted Farmington Land Trust. They're gonna have a good representation there as well, so we'll be there. So hopefully the commissioners can be there as well.
What was that date?
For February 13th.
Okay.
at 7 o'clock. I don't have the agenda yet, but those usually are first thing at the top of the agenda. Both Kim will be there and his mom will be there as well. All right.
And that's in the council chambers?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, there's something I forgot to put on the record that I watched the January 17th video of the meeting, of the January 17th meeting. I know I usually say that at the beginning, but better late than never.
Okay, and sorry, I dropped off again there with connectivity for a minute. So Bruce, hopefully heard the thanks that I put out to you and the staff for putting together the proclamation.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, and
So-
Bruce, unfortunately, I've got a meeting that night that I'm actually running at 7 o'clock, so I won't be able to make it.
That's fine. Nope, I just wanted everyone to give everyone as much notice as possible. So if there's anybody else, if there's anybody else you think should be there that I'm not aware of, just give them that date. Okay?
Thanks, Bruce. And I plan to be there.
All right.
So is there a motion to approve the minutes for January 17th?
So moved by Dave.
Is there a second?
Second, Rich?
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
I'll abstain, Ned.
So motion still carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for the January 27th site walk?
So moved, Ned.
Is there a second?
Second, Rich?
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain?
Abstain, Mark. Abstain, Mark.
Okay, so noted. The motion carries. And we will adjourn at 8:32. We will convene and open the Conservation Commission meeting with the same role as for the Wetlands Commission at 8:32. And Bruce, if you can get to your agenda quicker than I get to mine, we can.
There's nothing on the agenda, just approving the minutes from January 17th. So,
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from January 17th?
So moved, Rich?
Is there a second?
Dave will second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 But anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining?
Abstain, Ned.
So noted. And that will do it for anything under planner's report. You've probably covered everything, right?
yes, sir.
Okay. Then we can adjourn at 8:33